Welcome back to the third episode of We've Done The MAFS, a pedestrian TV vodcast. I'm Jules Rangihiwe, podcaster, failed reality TV star, and lover of all things trash telly.
And I'm Chantal Schmidt, Pedestrian TV's Married at First Sight recapper.
Today we have our first ever guest, the wonderful bride, Janelle.
The tea.
I was absolutely shocked. We talk all things intimacy week, aka fuck week.
That phone call.
Oh my gosh, that horny photo shoot. We need to get into it. Her fuck, marry, leave answer.
I can't.
I was so shocked. You know what? Let's just get her on right now.
Let's do it.
Welcome, Janelle from MAFS.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh my gosh, so this is your first podcast.
It is. I'm like, this is surreal. This is so professional.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
it.
Beauty influencer from West Oz.
Yes. Good old Perth.
How is that career? Like, how do you get into something like that? YouTube, Instagram?
I do Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've been doing it full time for about a year now. Before that, I was a makeup artist. I finished my degree in uni and I worked at Mac as a trainer for a bit as well. So I really just fell into this job. I don't know how I do it. Oh my God, this is weird.
And sitting across from the couch from you, stunning. Absolutely stunning. You guys can tell beauty influencers.
But every episode you are just bringing it. I am living for your outfits, for your looks. Everything is amazing. But one thing I wanted to ask you, obviously I recap every episode of this show for Pedestrian TV. And one thing that I noticed that I haven't seen before is they said that the Married at First Sight experts actually reached out to you.
Oh, actually, I read that article.
Hey!
That's a good article. That's a good question. Actually, I applied. But it's a really funny story.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I had ended a long-term relationship, but it's one of those relationships where you check out way earlier than you really think you have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And The Bachelor reached out to my social media agency. And so I was like, okay, well, YOLO, I'm going to do it. I'm single now. I clearly don't know how to choose my man. So I applied for Bachelor and I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to apply for Bachelor, I'm going to apply for the show that I actually watch, which is Married at First Sight. And so I actually got onto both of them. I know, it was crazy. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this once in a lifetime experience, I want to at least, if I can't find love, I want to at least learn something about myself. And I think MAFS is a really good experiment that will teach you a lot about yourself and put you in this position where you do things that you're not used to doing. So yeah, that is how I applied.
I have to ask more questions. This is so interesting to me. I'm a little bit of an entertainment.
Oh, I'm a reality whore.
Yes. I wanted to say whore, but I'm like, is this politically incorrect these days? I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. So what I wanted to ask you is that for the 3 bachelors? That's the one you were meant to be on?
That's the one. I reckon I would have gotten paired with Felix because I play basketball.
And would you have liked him?
Definitely not.
Right? The worst. But this is really interesting because there's a lot of Batchy MAFS crossovers this year.
There
so
is, isn't there?
Jessica, that was at Bronte's wedding. And there was Abby, right? The one that Harrison has been seeing, not sleeping with the day that he is leaving for MAFS, you know, the whole shebang.
I don't know the truth.
Oh, God. It's a nightmare.
So I'm not too sure if you're aware, but your write-up on the MAFS website describes you as bossy, clingy, and short-tempered. How much of that is true? Have they just ran with that? Did you give them those props?
To be honest, I was really surprised when I saw that write-up and I was like, oh, whatever. I did mention it in a few of my casting interviews because I mentioned it was potentially the reason why my last relationship ended. But upon reflecting, I don't know if that's the case.
That's what I was
not.
going to. Are you being harsh on yourself right now?
Well, like, I'm not afraid to talk about what my weaknesses are. And if that's what my weaknesses are, then so be it. But I don't, like, all my friends read it and they were like, Janelle, that's not actually true. But I'm like, oh, whatever.
You're just going through, you're in the thick of heartbreak and you're like, oh.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Using bossy for a woman, I resent that.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, there's a difference between bossy and self-assured. And I'm like, well, if it's self-assured, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it because everyone is dying to hear about you and Adam. But the one question we still can't wrap our head around is, what does Adam actually do for work? Did that ever get resolved?
Oh, to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure what he does for work. He wasn't very good at explaining it. And I don't know, like in my circle of friends, talking about career is very normal. It's not an offensive thing to ask, but it seemed to be offensive to him. From what I had gathered, in the past, he has had experience in real estate, construction. Apparently, he worked in like a COVID clinic at one point. From what I've gathered, he has a lot of jobs, but he doesn't have a career. And I don't think he knew how to answer that.
Yeah.
So,
But also the way that he was defensive, right? It spoke
was
volumes. And you
Yes.
said, look, I think this is quite a normal question. And you're right, it is.
thank you.
But it was the way that he was really pushing back and going, why, it just showed so many insecurities on his behalf.
And that's exactly right. Like I learned really early on that the way he communicates is different to how I communicate. He does jump on the defense, jump on the sensitivity, and like throughout the experiment, I had to stay really calm in these conversations. Otherwise, it was just going to be this explosive fight. Yeah, honestly, it was really shocking. Like, I didn't know how to steer the conversation in the right direction either. I'm like, I've never had someone act like this when I asked about career.
Well, clearly you were successful before going on the show. Do you think maybe he was slightly intimidated?
I definitely thought that. I mean, I thought, maybe he's used to being like a breadwinner or maybe used to being the extroverted, self-assured one. And I don't think he knew how to handle someone who was a bit more independent. So, yeah, I think as well, he has a lot of pride. And when someone dares to dent the pride, it's like,
And forgive me if I'm wrong, but do you kind of get like wannabe influencer vibes from him?
oh, yeah.
Thank
you
God.
seen his
Well, someone
Instagram?
had to say it.
Right? What makes you think that?
Oh, no.
Well, he did tell me, like, during the honeymoon that he's done a lot of reality shows before. Yeah, so he's been on, I think he even said he's done like 10 in the UK, because in the UK it's very easy to do that. And so I'm like, okay, maybe this is why he doesn't have a career. He really wants to be famous. I'm not sure. Like, this is the only one I've ever been on. So I was like very new to it all. But no, it was...
Whoa, how's that for manifestation? He's gotten it. Wow.
Did you say to him like, what's the go, darling?
No, I just think he wants to be famous. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
well, he's going to get it, isn't he? So speaking of your honeymoon, you guys went to Cairns,
Yes.
but other people got to go internationally.
I'd be off it, babe. I'd fucking flip my lid.
Look, Cairns, I'd never been to Cairns before, so I was happy about that. I was like, at least I got to leave Sydney. Like, that's fine. And when we went to Cairns, the weather was not great. And I had like kind of dug it out of the producer. I was like, what would have happened if we were in Cairns and the weather was good? Like, there was potential for seeing the reef. There was potential for helicopter rides. So I was like, you know what? The thought was there. But Cairns was still beautiful.
Yeah, but when you guys were swapping stories, like, just before you were filming and you're like, oh, babe, where'd you go? This bitch says Fiji. Are you steaming?
No, Fiji was okay. I could let that one go. But when I heard that Sandy went to Singapore, I was like, no, like that is where my parents are from. Singaporean food would have been the jam, but it's okay. I'm grateful that I even got to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because some people stayed in Sydney, so yeah.
But yeah, we saw that and we were like, far out. When did this? I think the budget starts to trickle out.
Yeah, they got them.
I feel like my wedding though looked super expensive, so maybe there was a bit of a balance there.
Gorge.
Well, fast forward to now, how do you think you and Adam are going in the experiment at this stage?
Me and Adam are doing really well in the experiment. I think me learning how to communicate with his style I was getting better at it. And we were really like a married couple at this point. We were doing everything together. We were shopping together, watching the NFL together. Like, we were so comfortable. And what people don't realize is that you spend 24/7 with your husband or wife. Like, you trust them just because you're together all the time. And you don't get to really speak to the other couples. So yeah, we were basically each other's best friend at this point. Yeah.
And I guess you're both going through something that you've never gone through. Oh, well, Adam, 10 times. For you, it's a brand new experience. Like, it's a brand new experience. So it must be nice just to have that place of comfort every single day.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's the thing. You have not really anyone else to talk to in the experiment. So that familiarity, that trust, it comes with it.
Obviously, you guys have had a few hurdles
Just
along the way. So I feel like the Adam and Claire rumors, right? Like, it felt like a big thing and then it was swept under the rug. Where do you sit on it? Do you feel like there's any truth to it, or is that the end of that story?
Well, the whole thing about all that was the accusation that I had heard at the time, especially during the phone swapping, was that he was on the phone to Claire. But I knew he wasn't on the phone to Claire because as soon as Adam got home from the bar, I was with him on the couch. We were cuddling. We had wine. We were watching a movie. We were calling Linda and Cam. So I knew he wasn't on the phone to Claire. I was with him the whole time. So when the whole accusation came out, like, why wouldn't I trust him? Because I knew the accusation was false. But I mean, looking back at the phone swap challenge, I'm such a freaking idiot.
We have questions. If you could do your time over, or let's say you guys are in a normal relationship, homeboy leaves his phone out, on the upside, unlocked. Are you looking through it?
No, I couldn't.
Have you not ever done that to a boyfriend?
Never. I've always been in really loyal relationships. I've never been cheated on before. So it was like not something that I had on my radar. And it just feels wrong to me. Like my guilty conscience would have been like, nah, don't do it. But I mean, looking back, I would have definitely loved to have pushed it a bit more to see his phone, especially because I didn't see how guilty he looked at the time. Like he looked guilty.
Babe, in our last episode, we were just saying you could watch the relief fly off him.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But I think how I was feeling then was, as you can see with the whole what is your career, he's so triggered so easily that I really had to pick my battles. I really had to choose when to poke the bear, and I just became a doormat because I know it's so sad, like I'm such a strong person, but he really at the time made me feel like I couldn't speak up and question things, otherwise I would take the brunt of it, which is really sad. But it was a good learning curve for me.
Yeah, it's something Jules and I have spoken about as well, like, men that do get quite defensive, you kind of see women's light go out quite a bit. But looking back on the phone challenge, do you think that he played that situation or kind of manipulated you at all?
Oh, 100%. That was like reverse psychology. I was like, am I that dumb? I completely got gaslit. Like, it was crazy.
Is it hard when you're at home? Do you watch it on your own every night or with someone?
I try to watch it with someone, but I do watch it on my own. I have the live Reddit thread on my phone as I'm watching it.
Are you kind of triggered all over again with those emotions watching it back, or do you feel more intensely about it watching it back?
Oh, definitely. I think especially because I know I'm guilty of letting people walk all over me. I've had ex-friends in the past use me for clout, ex-friends, just taking over my generosity. And I think watching it happen on screen is like, it's a big wake-up call. And that is one of the things that I did learn from this experiment is like learning how to not be a pushover and being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah. One more thing on the phone scandal, if you will, before we move on, is there was a lot of he said, she said around what Jesse did when he came to your room. Can you kind of set the scene for us and let us know what happened, or do you feel like we've gotten that story already?
Well, Jesse came to our room. I think it was between like 12:30 to 1:30, and he came in. He was super angry. I opened the door and he just goes, "Where's Adam?" And I'm like, "Oh, over there." And he just walks right past me, staunchy, and just goes up to Adam, let me see your phone. And I'm just like standing near the bed being like, oh my God, what is happening? And Adam's just like, mate, what's going on? Like, do you want to sit down? Like, what's going on? And we knew this was like, well, for me, I'm like such a rule follower. I was like, there's no cameras here. Like, are we even allowed to be doing this? Like, are we allowed to talk? Like, this is off camera. And Jesse just walks right past me and goes straight to Adam. And he's like, let me see your phone. And Adam's trying to dissolve the situation, being like, come on, Jesse, sit down. Like, let's have a talk. And the whole time I was just shocked. Like, I just didn't know like what to do. To be honest, I was scared that they were going to fight because Jesse looked angry. And when he left, like me and Adam were just like, what is going on? But I had no inkling of doubt at all because me and Adam were literally like cuddling on the couch all night. We were even intimate that night. So
intimate. I love the way you guys always say intimate.
We had sex.
Thank you. Finally.
So, I mean, that's why I didn't have suspicions because I was like, well, we're normal, we're good, we're progressing. Like, there's nothing for me to suspect.
Yeah. So speaking of intimacy, or speaking of having sex, I need to talk to you about the sexy photo shoot.
Oh my God.
How does this happen? Was it a task? Did you guys just go, you know what, let's whip out the camera, babe? How did this happen?
Oh, I couldn't believe it because every couple gets a different task. And when I went to the cocktail party, me and Adam found out we were the only one that got that task. And so we got so stitched up. But it was really, really fun because it was a task that made us feel really comfortable around each other, which we already were, but it was kind of like one of those tasks that make fun and really enjoy each other's like bodies, I guess. But no, it was a good task. I made him squish tomatoes over his face.
Look, I saw this, and as someone that's been to La Tomatina before, it was deeply triggering for me. I was like, I could smell it, I could feel it. What's sexy about squishing tomatoes, babe? I don't know.
Look, I just really wanted to see him do something funny. He made me eat a banana, and he took a photo of it. So I feel like that's worse.
You know what? He embarrassed you on national TV too. So
yeah, he did.
How on earth do you complete Intimacy Week knowing that all of that is going to be aired on national TV? Like, did you guys have to do a huddle and were like, let's just fucking do it. Let's just get this over with and do it. Or are you actually having fun in the moment?
I'm having fun. I'm not ashamed of it at all, especially because I think being sexually positive is so important for women in this day. And I think especially for my culture, and I wanted to be a voice for people of my culture to be comfortable talking about sex. Like, I grew up in such a conservative household. My mum's sex talk didn't exist. This is how my mum told me about periods. She said, if you pee blood, let me know. So yeah, I know. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I had no knowledge, and I went to a Catholic school, so sex talk was just not a thing there either. So growing up, I really wanted to make it normal, and so yeah, I was fine with it. But you know, one of our challenges was to make out for I think 3 or 5 minutes. I couldn't do that. I just not with people around. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, well, how many people are in the room with you?
Well, you've got a crew, and which is totally fine. Like, you know, me and Adam make out all the time, but I couldn't do it around people.
Can I ask, and you know, you might not be able to answer this, but if you guys are doing something like that, kissing, whatever, can you say, can you guys leave now so we can
continue? I guess so, but you know, it's just it's a really weird situation to be in. Like, I can't even kiss ex-partners with family around, let alone like strangers.
Yeah. We've loved witnessing the strong girl code displayed throughout this season. Do you find it difficult withholding info you know could really potentially hurt another bride?
Oh, definitely. And that question is, yeah, it's a big one, because when you go into the experiment, you think, okay, I'm going to be committed to this partner. This partner is the person that I'm going to be putting all my energy into. But what people don't realize is that when you're on this experiment, it's like you actually have to be involved in everyone else's relationship, because it's a group setting as well as a partner relationship. So that's something that I hadn't wrapped my head around going into it, because I thought I was just going to be putting 100% into that relationship. I didn't think I was going to be involved in anything. So when it came to, for me, I always want to do the right thing by everyone. And so when I get wrapped up in drama, I'm like, okay, what is the best outcome? How can I do this? How can I do things that is right by the right people? And so, especially so early on in the experiment, you don't know who are your friends yet. And that's what makes it even harder.
Well, I saw you at the dinner party. You were so stressed out about this information, which is still confusing to me. This story where, you know, you thought you heard something about Dan, but actually it was about Harrison. Can you tell us how this communication kind of got mixed up along the way?
I had the biggest moral dilemma during that moment. So what happened was Adam and Harrison were on the phone, and Adam was talking to Harrison. Harrison had mentioned that Dan got a girl's number, and I was across the other side of the room. Mind you, we're staying in like these tiny studio apartments. I can hear everything. And I'm just sitting there going, what? Because Adam just looks at me. He gives me this like crazy face. And I'm like, what? And he's like, no, I can't tell you. But eventually what happened was Harrison was then on loudspeaker, and I was actually talking to Harrison myself for a few moments too. So when I heard this, I was like, okay, like what do we do in this situation? Because I don't want to ruin Adam's friendship with Harrison. So I was like, if I spread this news, it now ruins Adam's friendship. But if I don't spread this news, then I'm doing wrong by Sandy, who at that point I loved Sandy and she really like stood up for me in a lot of situations. So I was like, what do I do? Like, do I put my relationship first or do I put girl code first? So yeah, it was a lot.
That seems to be the common dilemma, especially for this week. Lyndall and Cam as well.
Yeah.
Did you kind of find that the girls were more outspoken, and I keep yelling at the screen, God, these boys don't have a spine? Did it feel like that at the time? Because it looks like that as a viewer.
100%. That vibe in the experiment was definitely there. There was definitely like this like boy club vibe where you don't betray the boys. It's not all the boys, that's for sure. But I mean, you can definitely tell who the boy club was. I think even just watching it. And the girls definitely had each other's back. That's for sure. I think for me personally, though, I kind of walked into the experiment thinking, for me, it's not a gender thing. It's not a girl code. It's not a boy code. I'm going to be there for the person who's in the right, the person that needs the support. So I think a few other girls thought that too.
Because it's just a common decency thing, right?
It's a common decency. Like, I'm not going to have someone's back just because they're a female. I'm not going to have someone's back just because they're a male. Like, it's going to be whoever's, right in the situation.
It's not your fault that there's so many shitty men on this season.
I cannot believe it. And especially watching it, you don't, like, you hear about these things, but you don't see it. So watching it, I'm like, oh my God, what are these men thinking?
Totally.
How are you older than me?
Yeah.
Men. So I think one man in particular this week that's really gotten everyone riled up, and last week, is Shannon. And, speaking about girl code, how hard is it for you to sit there and watch Caitlin go through what she's going through?
Well, at the time, none of us had seen it. Like, that all happened, it didn't even happen in dinner parties or commitment ceremonies when we can see each other. So at the time, none of us knew it was that bad. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, watching it back, I'm like, oh my God, this man has no filter. He is not thinking things through. So yeah, I mean, we all feel terrible for Caitlin. The poor girl got stitched up.
Was it hard for you guys? You all become such good friends. You must meet these women and they're just so vivacious and confident at the hens party. And slowly but surely their light starts to go out. You would have seen it with Caitlin, Bronte. Is it hard to sit back and watch that? And did you notice it at the time?
I definitely noticed at the time. And honestly, it was happening to pretty much all the women because the men didn't want the women to speak up. And we all became silenced. I mean, I definitely was silenced as well. Like, the fact that I even had to ask my husband if I could say something to Sandy, like, in real world, like in outside world, in my everyday world, I would have just done it. So it's hard to watch and it's hard to live through it too.
So last night when Caitlin was telling you about all the disgusting things that Shannon's been saying to her, you said, he's just as shady as his fucking tan. Amazing. Honestly.
That man's tan though, honestly. Can we talk about that?
Please.
Wait, is it fake or real?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I had heard that he was in a solarium for half an hour. That's
this makes
long.
sense.
That's apparently you're not meant to be in there for that long.
Are you even allowed to be in
Are you even
solariums?
allowed to be in solarium? So it was real technically, but not. And it was like so patchy, the tan. And and I just, oh my God, I feel so bad. Sorry, Shannon. But you could just see the tan was not evenly on his face. And I was just like, bro, stop. It's aging you.
Yeah, well, two things, right? He doesn't strike me as someone that would wear SPF. Just,
That doesn't strike me as someone. Maybe I should give him a few recommendations.
Yes,
Babe,
yes. And second thing is that you really could notice the difference, right?
Yes.
From one week to the next. And I just thought that he was just weathered from
Honestly,
going through this situation with his ex. I was like, wow, this ex has really done a number on him.
I know. I was. I'm sorry. It was on, and the thing is, it's even worse in person. Like, it was giving Oompa Loompa.
Wow. And you know what? I feel like an asshole for talking about someone's appearance. But this man sat there and said to Caitlin, if you were hotter, I'd be over my ex. So...
Which is shocking to me because look at her. She is like a freaking 1,000 out of 10. Like, she's gorgeous inside and out, and it breaks my heart, especially because she really tried to give it everything she got. Like, she was compromising the most in that relationship. She was trying the hardest, and despite all these ridiculous blinding red flags, like, she was still trying to make something work. Like, she didn't want to leave the experiment without giving it 100%. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
Her and Claire are very similar, where they still almost try and defend these men. Was that something kind of that you guys clocked at the time, or watching back? Is it, you know, are you like, why are we sticking up for these dickheads?
Oh, 100% you clock it at the time. And I think what people don't realize is that you're in an experiment. Like, even the word is something where, like, you give it your best shot. And so even though you see these red flags, it's like, well, I would never normally deal with this in everyday life. So this is a chance for us to learn how to deal with it now and learn to see if we can make something work. Because a lot of these people who, you know, see these red flags, there was that initial spark at the start. So let's explore that. Yeah.
It's a great way to look at it.
Now, Janelle, without breaching any contracts, is there anything that we should be prepared for this season?
Look, this is only the start. This is definitely an explosive season. There's not going to be a boring moment. I'll give you that. A lot of big personalities, a lot of naughty men, or naughty men.
More.
I'll give you that. It's only the beginning.
Is there anyone that is going to surprise us? Anyone that seems nice enough now, but later on we might see a different version of them?
100%. And I have one in mind, but I'm not going to give anything away, but it's the biggest 180.
Surely Cam and Lyndall. Surely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to keep watching.
No comment.
Okay.
But there is, it's a big one.
Okay.
For sure.
We are ready.
Okay.
We'll be there.
So it wouldn't be We've Done The MAFS without a quick fuck, marry, leave. Out of all of the grooms, you've got free range.
Okay.
can't choose.
Assuming I'm not married to Adam.
Amen. No, he's out of the game.
I'm assuming that you fucked, married, and left Adam at this point already.
We'll have to find
We'll
out.
have to find out.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay, let's put leave first. I'm going to give you options. Okay, we're going to do Harrison and Shannon.
Oh,
Okay.
she's media trained.
There are more, but you'll have to wait and see. We're going to fuck. Like, it's a one night thing and then you just go.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Who would be the best in bed? Who do we have? And I can't say Adam.
No, but wow, must have been
Yeah.
a good time.
Tell us
Far
more.
out.
Oh, it's hard because I'm friends with all of them and it's weird.
Oh, take that out.
Do you know what I mean? Okay, no, I will choose. It's a surprising one, Jessie. I love Jessie. Jessie's one of my friends.
Are you joking?
Jessie will surprise you.
You could choose between Duncan and anyone
Well,
else.
I'll marry Duncan.
How?
Oh,
See?
sorry.
Marry Duncan.
But is Duncan not a bit boring?
I love Duncan. He's
Okay.
just such. I mean, to be honest, I think I'm boring.
No.
So no, Duncan's a lovely person. So
Okay.
I would marry Duncan.
Interesting. Maybe
So you could
we've-
fuck all the time?
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
out. Okay.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you fuck one person one time, but then when you marry someone, you get to fuck them all the time.
I'm shocked for this Jessie.
Yes,
answer.
back to Jessie. Okay. Is he over 6 foot asking for a friend?
He is over 6 foot, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I
yes.
mean-
Is it the Perth thing?
He is someone who looks tough on the outside, but is a big softie on the inside, and that's one of my types.
Jules, he does kind of look like someone we'd pick up at the Gladdy. Not you, but me.
Not me. Yes,
Right?
you for sure. Yeah. Okay, sure. I mean, it's your game,
Yeah.
so we'll let you run with that.
I'm going to ignore the judgment here.
No, never judgment. It's
No,
a judgment
no.
for never
We're
judgment.
We're just obsessed with Duncan's body, so we're like,
Same.
okay, great.
So I want to know who you guys would fuck, marry, leave.
Well, it's hard because Ollie, dead ring of Pete Davidson.
I love Ollie. And yes, oh my God.
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
I can't unsee it now.
Right? And I'm obsessed with his
love Pete
huge
Davidson.
personality.
Yeah.
So I think I might have to fuck Ollie, marry Duncan, leave Shannon. I think that's like the general.
That's a
consensus.
good one.
Okay. I'm marrying Ollie because I just think he's going to do the good things in the bedroom. We know this because of how happy Tani is, literally. And he also role plays, you know.
Yeah.
Not that I should be saying that. But anyway.
I'm sorry to throw them under the bus for this. But one time in the experiment, Tani had to come into my room and say, do you have, a drug for back pain? She was like, I've got Shagger's back.
What? Wait.
I'm sorry, Ollie and Tani. Tani literally couldn't sit because her back was sore from
Her back
all
was
the
blown
fucking.
out.
Wow. She looks like a fit gal too.
She is, but I mean,
So she came over for some deep heat.
she was like, what is it called, Voltaren? She's like, please, can I have some Voltaren? And I'm like, take
How,
it.
how often do you guys get to have sex? Like, how many hours are free in the day without being on camera?
You do get quite a lot of free time, definitely. Yeah, there's plenty of time to fuck.
Great, amazing.
Love. Okay, so what did I do?
Oh yeah, fuck, marry, leave.
Okay, so I'm marrying Ollie. I'm fucking Duncan. I just think he's super Prince Eric from Little
Oh
Mermaid.
my god, yes, he is Prince Eric.
Yes, and I want to be part of that world, baby. And then I will leave. This is exactly the same as last week, but I'm sorry. I am so committed to leaving Shannon. He just pisses me right off.
Yeah.
Everything about him is just making me unwell.
I think it's valid.
Yeah.
Man.
And finally, I want to ask you, which couple do you think are the worst matched? Which are just a car crash waiting to happen?
Oh, I had an answer, but I can't say it. I can't. Ooh. Who is terribly matched? I'm just going to say it. I think me and Adam are probably the most unlikely match. We're just so different in every aspect of our lives, but it's definitely a new learning curve for me to get used to.
Okay.
Wow, what a great answer.
We are tuning in
Oh,
to see what happens.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, I think we're just going to have to watch. I want to get out of here. I'm dying to watch the next episode. We have loved having you. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. You guys have been lovely. This has been so much fun.
All right, so that's another episode of We've Done The MAFS. You can catch up on all the Married at First Sight goss on the We've Done The MAFS newsletter on Pedestrian TV. Thank you so much, Janelle. We've loved having you.
Oh, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
See you next week.
Bye.